branch following Toyota. The trial.
Hello guys, good morning. Good morning, people. Good morning. Hello.
Good morning, sir. Hello, good
Yeah, good
morning, sir.
morning. Good morning. Madaki, good to see you.
Yeah, yes, same here, same here.
How are you guys doing? Hello. I want to hear from everyone.
Morning, sir.
How are you guys doing?
We're good, sir.
We're doing great, sir.
You are great. How are you?
Yeah, I'm fine. I want to see you guys. Let me see. How do we do that?
Joy?
Oh, Chigozie Uja. Good to see you.
Yes.
Good to see you. Madaki, Shalom, Enoch, Alex. Alex, Osazi, good to see you.
Good morning, sir.
Yeah, good morning. You're always smiling. This is your picture.
Yes, sir.
Okay, that's nice. Joshua, can I see your
Morning,
videos,
sir.
or your network is really poor?
Yes, it's very poor, sir.
Okay, I understand. Honestly, I'm really so impressed. Do you guys know something weird happened? We did not publicize today's class. We didn't publicize today's class, like create a flyer and all that. So I just actually forgot. I slept very late. Kind of skipped my mind. Okay, I think I'm going to mute all now. Okay. Okay, so I really want to appreciate you guys for being here. We didn't publicize today's class, I think, except when I sent out the email list. So what I'm going to do today, before jumping into understanding financial statements, is that I would like to spend time with you to get updates from each of you and to really respond to questions based on the last two classes that we have had. All right. So I would like to talk briefly, then respond to questions. All right. That you guys might have. Okay. So you know, I've just been thinking about a number of things the last couple of days. And what I'm sharing with you, I'm sharing as a mentor, all right? One of them has been about the concept that everyone is a leader. And the second thing I've been thinking about is really about how brutal people become in order to be really successful entrepreneurs, like the brutality of being an entrepreneur. So I would like to talk about that briefly. So these are just kind of like some form of philosophical thinking, not in the sense of philosophy, but in the sense of as an individual, trying to build or building my own philosophy of business, and kind of saying that sometimes as an entrepreneur, if you're so quiet and you're so indisciplined, you could get run over by people and by systems. So take, for example, you are an employer, and let's say you have a staff or a group of staff that do not deliver on the reason why you hired them. Guess what happens? If you don't fire them, they end up destroying your business, right? So and you have to make a very quick decision to like let them go. That could be really harsh, especially if you have like a very good mind and you tend to love people or like people or want to see the best happen in people, you know. But as an entrepreneur, you can't really be that way. I mean, you want to see the best in people, but you also have a business to run, right? And because of that, you might need to be in code brutal about it. Um, there was a story that happened sometime about a businessman who employed like his family members to work for him, and I think someone stole money from the coppers. You know, like these people own shops and all that. Someone stole money from his coppers, and he knew that the money was stolen. Someone from his family took the money. So this guy arrested all his children, you know, and got them interrogated until one of them eventually confessed, you know. So it's kind of crazy, right? Like the kind of hard decisions you might need to make as an entrepreneur, just so that you can be really, really successful with your business. Because, you know, if you're like very calm and you're like um, gullible, you know, you believe everything people say, guess what happens? People are just going to use you like trash, dump you until your business dies. So what if the reason why most of our businesses are actually struggling, maybe one of the key reasons could be because we do not know how to make the right decision and be tough about it, you know. So uh, that's really one major thing I've been thinking about. So because, you know, when you think about people like Dangote or Tony Lumelu or some of these popular guys, Big Gates, you know, when you read the biography of Big Gates, you hear about how that Big Gates actually had to buy up, you know, uh, um, was it the DOS operating system from a company, and then he sold it to IBM. You know, that was crazy. You know, like why didn't he just, you know, connect IBM to this company? And if you study the history of Bill Gates, you will see that if he had been in quotes good and he had connected those guys directly with IBM, there will never be a Microsoft today, and there will never be a Bill Gates today. So at that early stage, you know, you see these traits in people, these traits of being in quote brutal, tough, clear-headed, and being able to make decisive action on time just to save your business or just to rescue your business, you know. And then the second thing is really about leadership and how that you know, I was just thinking, you know, sometimes the question is asked, can everybody be a leader? Is everybody a leader? I used to think that not that everybody is not a leader. Some people just have to be followers, right? But I've had a really strong change of mind. I really believe that everybody is a leader and can become a leader. The job of a manager is primarily to keep the status quo. But if you think about the fact that we have so much technology right now, a lot of social media, I mean, you can decide to choose a field right now in technology, and within 6 months, you would actually know that skill. So that brings to mind that I think in the area of our purpose, calling, talents, skill, and within our cycle of influence, everybody is actually a leader. Everybody. is actually a leader. Each one of us, we're a leader. We have something to contribute to society. And it's just unfortunate that because we went to school, we've been trained to avoid leadership. You know, we always have to elect a class rep. We always have to elect a class monitor. We always have to choose someone else. We're always in the position of choosing someone else. We've not been trained, you know, to lead. We've just been trained to consume and be on the receiving side. But we've never been trained to, you know, like go out there and give something, you know. And I think that has to change. Each and every one of us have to, you know, become a little bit active, not just with our businesses. We need to become very active about our lives, and you know, begin a movement, begin something, you know, begin now to exercise leadership in some way, you know, even if it means just teaching people what you understand about leadership, but you need to start doing something, you know. You know, these are some of the thoughts really boiling in my mind right now. And I felt that I should share some of these things with you. I'd like to hear from you guys. What has been your experiences? You know, or if you have questions, you know. I mean, this is a community, right? So I want to use this time, you know, to really see what you guys think about this. So, I mean, if you want to say something, just raise your hands up. And so that I can unmute you, or you can just, you know, or type in something into the message box.
All right, sir. Good morning, sir.
Yeah, good morning, Usazi.
Yes, sir. Listening to you, I just realized that, and I also noticed that you're quite right about what you said. A lot of us sometimes have shied away from leadership. And for me, from what I understand, there is some sort of a leadership deficit currently in Africa and in Nigeria as a whole, where we don't really have credible leaders who can sacrifice and have a vision for the future long term. But my own experience personally that I've had is during school, I had involved myself with an activity group where we basically tutor and speak to secondary school students. And over time, after joining the group for about 3-4 years, I also became a leader in the group and spread the group towards an SSV conference where we talked about 1,000 secondary school students across 50 secondary schools in Benin City. And from that experience, I learned a lot. And basically, from what I learned is that leadership first is about learning. You will not definitely get all the answers at first. You will definitely have to learn and keep learning as you keep going. And it was a wonderful experience. And I did quite have a lot of questions to ask, and I still do have a lot of questions to ask as regarding leadership. One for all, it's the ability, okay, how do somebody, because one of the problems I had was trying to make people efficient at doing the tasks that you ask them to do. At the same time, trying to understand their, because I got to notice that not everybody has the same capabilities or capacity to do particular task. So got into this dilemma of trying to push them to be efficient at the same time, trying to understand their capacity at the same time. So it was more like I'm trying to say, okay, I understand your situation, but at the same time, I want you to be this person that I want you to be. From seeing where they are, I had a bit of shortcoming trying to understand, and that's where maybe I would like you to throw more light of trying to push people from where they are to where they want them to be.
Okay, can you repeat the last statement. I didn't fully get it because your network broke.
Okay. Yes. What I was saying was the position of you being as a leader, where you understand where people are in terms of their capacity, but then there's a certain level of efficiency you expect from them. How do you get to move them from where they are to where you want them to be?
Okay. That's a good question.
Did you hear me, sir?
Yeah. So they are really different. There's no one singular answer to that question, or one singular correct answer to that question. But I think I have different views. One of them, of course, is like keeping them there and giving them the opportunity to grow and learn, and hopefully they will become a little more loyal and they will stay with you longer. That's one opinion I have. But I think also the first thing to really do is to really understand the job you want to get done, and to understand the type of person you want to get that job done, and actually hire the right person. Because even if you come to think of it, business is really about survival and significance, right? It's really about, at its core, it's really about executing your activities very efficiently so that you can make as much money or profit as possible. Yeah. So you don't really have all the time to train people to get to that stage, because you're not running an NGO or a religious institution or a non-profit, and that person is not a volunteer. You're actually paying them for that service they're offering you. Some people spotted, from MTN to Glo, from Glo to Airtel and all those things, just because they were not satisfied with the network, the quality of service they were getting from the network. Every staff or member of staff is your customer, or you are their client. They are there to offer you a service, and you pay them. You pay your staff for offering you a specific service. So if they're not offering you that service, your best bet is always to get someone who is really, really good at their job first, and then you can add more value to them. So for example, someone may be on an 8, and maybe when they join you, you want to move them from 8 to 10, right? So I think it's really about the foundation, because the more we keep spending time trying to train people, make them good on the job, maybe the person you hired is like 2/10, you have to move them from 2 to 3, 3 to 4, before you know what's happening, your business is dead. So I think we need to pay a little bit more attention to the hiring process, as opposed to getting like very weak and incompetent people and trying to upskill them while they are on the job. I think that might not work. I know when you think about really successful businesses or entrepreneurs, they don't really have this type of mistake where they just keep someone trying to improve them. I think it's mostly at the grassroots, people running SMEs or smaller companies or NGOs and stuff like that. They are the ones who tend to compromise on that, and that's a very big fundamental, do I use the word mistake or error in thinking?
Thank you very much, sir.
Yeah,
That was
thank
very
you. Thank you, Susan. Yeah, I would like to hear from you guys, man. I want this to be interactive. Chigozie, maybe I'll start calling one by one. Everybody's a leader, so everybody's going to speak today. Today is a town hall meeting. Hello, Chigozie. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Okay, great.
Good morning.
Good morning.
And before I ask my question, first of all, the last class asked if we wanted to be in the mentee group, and
Okay.
Yes, I indicated that in my mail, but I've not been added.
Oh, really? Sorry about that. Share with me your phone number.
Okay, so I'll share it with you. Then my question is building a team, talking about competency, and even when you're teaching us about writing the business plan, you are like, your theme is one of the major things that the investor will look at. So it's trying to start a business, it's a startup at its early stage. How then do you get competent people to be on your team? And then after that, how will you share, assuming that, okay, for us, or a strategy to get people to be efficient is to let them have a stake in the business. Now, what ratio do you advise that we share the returns from the
Mm-hmm.
business with respect to founder and team members, and what goes back into the business to keep it going? Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. Okay, if I hear you clearly, you're talking about first, if you're setting up a startup, like how do you get these competent people? And then number two, if you should give your early staff some form of equity, and how much equity, right? Did I get that right?
Yes,
Yeah.
sir.
Okay, great. Okay, great. So usually, I think my philosophy around this now is that if you're hiring someone, think of them as maybe you're like trying to get married. You know the amount of attention you pay to the person you're trying to get married to. You try to understand them. You try to, because I mean, you're going to be spending your entire life, hopefully, with that person. And when you think of it from that perspective, you want to make sure that you are not going to enter an abusive relationship or a relationship that will become a liability to you, right? And so you end up making the right decision, hopefully, without you. The only difference is that your emotion probably gets compromised, and then maybe at the end of the day, a lady ends up dating a guy who beats her up or abuses her in some way, and vice versa. Now, if that is the case, all right, if that is the case, um, then you want to make sure that when you're setting up your startup, you're actually paying more attention and spending a little bit longer time trying to get the right person to come work for you. Now, this person might be a staff, in which case, once you get the right person, you must have the ability to pay them. And from experience, usually it's better to pay money than to pay with equity. And the reason is because, unlike marriage, your business is going to change a lot, all right, over a couple of weeks, months, and other things. And you're not sure if this person you're hiring is going to still be relevant or competent, when the businesses change. Take, for example, Eco Hotel happens to be one of the most popular hotels in Nigeria. And during this pandemic, they started selling food, something similar to what I think Ose does, or Esther Aquila. I think Esther sells food, packages food in soup and stuff like that, and sells to people. Echo Hotel have to do the same thing, So several businesses have to switch just to survive. So and that's the same thing with business. Many people don't know, but companies like Motorola, are known for phone manufacturing. But Motorola was formerly a furniture company before, so there's been transition, things just change. And if you have given out equity at the very early stage, you might just realize that you're stuck. And I've made that mistake myself. Where you hire people and then you feel like by giving them equity, they will be committed. Actually, many people would be committed, they will stay, but they will not be useful to you because you will just be stuck with them. You can't let them go, just like a bad marriage. You know, I don't know how it feels, but I assume that a lot of people are stuck in one. They can't divorce the person, and then they're just like they already have kids and all that. So you want to make sure that you are not you are being smart by hiring, and you are not distributing equity like Akara. Equity is really, really very expensive. You should not distribute it like Akara. Does that answer your question, Chigozie?
Yes, sir. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you too. Let me, Shalom. I think I see Shalom.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much, sir, for the opportunity. Hello,
Yeah,
can you hear me, sir?
yes.
Um, I really don't have any questions for now.
Okay, good. Okay, good. Good. I expect that. Okay, that's all right. Let's move on to Enoch.
Yes, sir.
You can mute yourself, Shalom. Let's move to Enoch. Enoch Alex. And if you need to say something, you can just raise your hands up. Joshua Abiola.
Yes, sir.
Okay, Joshua Odensi. Let's have you.
Sorry, sir. I just joined not quite long.
Oh, yes, right. Okay, that's all right. That's all right.
So
I
I don't
think.
know. Can I have an idea?
Oh yeah. So I'm talking about leadership. I'm talking about the essence of being brutal in business. You know, and making tough decisions. You know, to keep your business afloat. You know, and then general Q&A on what I've taught over the last 2 weeks. You know.
Okay.
Yeah.
Actually, for top decisions, I feel it's key for every businessman. For me personally, so far,
Mm-hmm.
I've um, I've made tough decisions as regards my business, basically
Okay.
because I've come to understand that if we don't take it the way it is, many a times we may not really make advances. I can vividly
Mm-hmm.
remember I was with a school. It's a good school in Rayfield where they pay quite well. And I worked with them for like 14 months. That's a year and 2 months. But I felt my time was up with them. I needed
Okay.
to focus on building my business and my vision. So I had to table my
Okay.
resignation letter. Actually, they could not believe it. They were like, Josh, why? I had to do that because I was trying to focus on a structure I was raising up.
Okay.
The reason I had to let go was not just an emotional reason.
Mm-hmm.
That's a spiritual undertone also. I was led to. Sorry for being spiritual at this place. So I had to resign, and to the glory of God, I began the business, and in less than 5 months, we grew beyond where we were. In short,
Okay.
my friends and they were surprised to see the level of progress that had been made. We started with just a single machine, but now we have like we have like 5 machines currently. So there's
What do you
the
guys do? What do you guys do?
okay. Basically, we offer business services. It's in the University of Jos. We do just basic things for students:
Mm-hmm.
printing, graphics design, customizables, um, and the other things that business and that students need within their vicinity, within the university.
Mm-hmm.
So based on that tough decision I took to resign, I was able to take out time to build the business structure. And we started with just a machine, and so far we've gotten like 4 extra machines. So
Good.
so
Good.
it's every businessman must be willing to take it the way it is, and his decision must not just be hinged on emotions. It must be hinged on proper survey and proper considerations. I remember when I ventured into the field, I realized that there was something that was missing within the environment I was. So I plunged into that and I became like the leader over that particular thing that was not available within the student environment. And they've within these 5 months, they've me for that. So our tough decisions must also be hinged on proper survey, proper investigation, as simple as that. So that's just a picture of it. So when it comes to leadership, as you've said, leadership basically is key to every successful businessman, and it has to be leadership by example. So if you want to be on time, you have to show the example by being on time. I remember telling one of my staff that since I started, I've always been the first to resume within that environment. So even if I'm late because I'm trying to do something that has to do with the business outside of the business, which I always miss him or tell him ahead time, probably a day before or the likes. And many a times I always bring to his ears that we also have a vision of setting up another structure within the year, in less than 1 year. And I keep pumping that to him. He feels I'm pushing it too fast, but he never knew that you said something that was so encouraging. He said, whatsoever we do, we should not stop until we become the masters of it. And that has been one of my driving force, basically. So I've begun my research. I've begun interacting with those that sell some kinds of machines that are not available within the whole university. And I've begun my research even online. And I strongly believe it's a good point to grow from. And it's a progressive journey. And with the help of God and the help of God, and we playing our parts as a team, we'll definitely make progress. Though all of what we're doing now is somehow related to the big and ultimate vision, but I know it's a good place to start. It's a good place to start. Because though there are other side businesses, other little things I run, like a snooker within my environment, which it's a basic means of stipends, which keeps body, mind, and soul together, even in the lockdown. I strongly believe also that as a businessman, we must plunge into multiple streams, because one of my beliefs is this: even if no stream gives an income, at least one should in its own season. The business that thrives seasonally. So even if other streams are shut down, at least one stream can be a means of income, which can sustain the person. For now, there's nothing. There's ASU strike. The business center is shut down. Nothing is happening. But
I mean, I get that. I get that.
Yes,
I think I like the fact that you're leading by example, and then you're also trying to be, or you are the leader. You have to keep that pace, and then make sure that your businesses are growing, and you're making. I mean, so long you're making the right decisions, right? The organization is going to keep growing. Or some people may not want the organizations to grow, but they want to maintain the status quo. That's absolutely okay. I think success really depends on what you want. So thank you very much for sharing, Joshua.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much. I appreciate
it. Thank you very much. Yes, thank you very much. Victor Labifo.
Hello, good morning, everyone.
Yeah, good morning.
Thank you so much, sir, for this opportunity and privilege to be on this platform and this group. Um, my experience of, I think I've been I'm a leader right now, and I was a leader in school. One of my, I was a music director. I had close to um, 200 and between 250 to 273 members. But one thing about leadership in a place like that was, at first at first I noticed something, that there was a cabal. There was a cabal in the ministry,
Mm-hmm.
and it was, you have to do, not the way, you don't have to function because of merit. You have to you function because of who you know.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to be really good to do, okay, let me use the terms. You don't have to be really good to do a song, but you just have to know somebody that could link you to coming out to do a song, because then we were the best back on campus. We were the best. But I, for one, it was just like I came in and I was just different. If you have to sing a song, you have to rehearse with the instrumentalists and all of that. You have to rehearse a day before, and if you're okay, you can minister. If you're not okay, they can put one or two things together to make sure that you become what, because there was this thing, we were known for a standard. They'll be like, okay, if you can't increase the standard, leave the standard where it is, don't reduce it. So if you are below the standard, our standard, you can't minister. But this set of persons, that was what I was told by my predecessor. But in this case, the set of persons I was saying, okay, I had two other persons. I was music director one. I had music director in charge of praise, music director in charge of instrumentals or instruments. So they will boycott me. The music director in charge of praise knows all the leaders, the president, the secretary, secgen, and all of that. So they will boycott me. They'll go through the music director in charge of praise. Then they'll go through the pastorate, and before you know, the person was on the platform. And the next morning, I'm surprised, who is this? And the person is already ministry. You can't go. So we had a couple of cabal that. So one of the thing I think in leadership, especially when you're a leader in a small group that has a larger group, you have. I've come to understand that you have those things. All right. I guess that point is clear, sir. I have another experience from what you were saying, sir. You were talking about being brutal and making decisive decision, being able to make decisive decision, as in brutally. I had a deal in November. Okay, I have a technical know-how, and I go to schools and train as regards technology and arts and craft. So there was this school that I saw an advert online that that did something that was not up to what I do, but it was in line. So I approached the school, and I discovered that there was somebody I knew from way back. We were in a place and something happened, and he saw me do something very, as in they were struggling with something, and I just got there. Within a second, I saw it and I went out. Before I came out, and I came back. When I came back, it was just like that. And the guy was surprised that somebody would just come in a place and think of something and just implement it, and it solves all problems. So he called me and told me that. So I remember that I had him there. So I called him. I said, okay, this is what I want to do. This is what I want to do. I need you to help us. They know you, they don't know me. So I need you to help us secure this deal. This is what I intend to do. So he did. So he was asking for a call. I said, okay, it's going to be 50. I asked him, he said he wanted 50-50, 50-50 cut. I said, okay, I agreed. But the agreement was, okay, we run an office and we pay bills and all of that. He agreed. So he got us the deal, and we. So I asked him, another question I asked him was, what is going to be your function? What are you going to do? When he was asking for 50-50, I asked him, what is going to be your own role? He didn't have any technical know-how, as in to work in the team. If he's going to be in the team, he didn't have any technical know-how. So basically, what he was just going to do was to get us the deal, and that was it.
Yeah, and then take a whole 50% of your margin.
Take a whole 50%. So we kept going, and I kept asking questions. I said, okay, this is what is going to happen. We won't have our team, we will not be able to handle all of this, I think, with the time they gave us. Let's see what we can do about it. Okay, let me train you on some things so that you can handle it. He just was not willing to learn. Okay, but in the end, we had a problem, and I needed to make a brutal decision. And that brutal decision was, I had to take my office cost. A certain percentage was given to I had to give a certain percentage to the office. Like we printed materials for a proposal and all of that. So I said, both of us, we are going to take 50%. Yes, you will take 50, I will take 50. But the office will take 40%. So we are left with 60%. You 30, me 30. We had a problem, a whole lot of problem with that. But in the end, that was what now brought to our, till now we don't speak in terms of business and all of that. But that was, I think that was one brutal decision I took that, to an extent, I would say favored me, because else if we took all the 50, if I allowed the 50%, including office costs and cost of running of all of that, I think I was going to run at loss, because we run on the gen, we ran on the gen, we pay bill, we pay power bills, we pay money for a whole lot. So that was the brutal decision I took, even if it was going to bring problems to our relationship. But that was one of the things I did, sir.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's beautiful. One of the things is that business is business, right? And in my earlier days, I wish I knew this more intimately, which is like, it's business, it's not personal, right? What you did was really, really good, because you were able to negotiate and all that. Of course, at the end of the day, you guys had a disagreement and you guys don't speak again, probably. But at this stage right now, make up your mind that even if you have a very bitter disagreement with someone, your partner, your friend, your customer, whatever, you would continue to talk with them. Because guess what? It's business. You guys are having a business conversation. You know, it's just like maybe you are married or you're in a relationship and then you have a quarrel, or maybe you had an argument. At the end of the day, you still have to speak, right? With your wife or with your partner also. So you have to move from that. Because I didn't know this early too. You know, at the end of the day, you might lose friendships, you know, over what? Maybe you had a business disagreement or something with the customer. Probably they were just making their own business decision that will favor them. And, you know, so there's no need to like end the relationship afterward. People like some of these top guys, billionaires or extremely wealthy people or powerful people, they've learned how to have disagreements and also learn how to continue the relationships. You know, I didn't know this too earlier, so I understand what you're saying. And I think you made the right decision. You just need to move a step higher, so that even if you had a disagreement with the staff, with anybody, it is just really about that conversation you had, all right? It doesn't affect your long years of relationship and all those things. So it was just business, not personal, right? And then you don't take it personal to heart, so that do you understand? So after some time, you don't end up losing your relationships, you know? I've had that same experience, but I didn't know that after those things, I'm supposed to continue the relationship, all right? And then at that stage, you know, you just get matured, you know, in things with business, with leadership, that even if you had an argument or you something happened, you don't take it personal. I mean, the person wants to take it personal, but you should still communicate with them, talk to them, have conversation, because that's maturity. Like, that's real maturity, you know. and you are going to need it as you move up, as you climb higher, as you make more money, as you have more people working for you. You just, regarding the situation, this is how you handle it, and that's it. You don't take it personal. If the person tries to take it personal, you talk sense into their head, but you also know how to handle them in subsequent situations. Like someone
So,
said,
sir,
I can forgive. Yeah.
let me share this with you. All right, it was in Saple. Let me say this right here in this group. It was in Saple. I actually learned this from you, and it was um um some elders I've spoken with would say you will not really value what you have until you lose it. But thank God I've not lost you yet, sir. And I pray that God will keep this relationship. So you said to me in Saple, you said you were trying to talk to me about things like this. Why I mentioned the Saple thing was, if I remembered what you said in Saple, I think I wouldn't have had what this problem with this person. You told me that before I get into any agreement with anybody, that we should sign dotted lines, that we should have some sort of written agreement so that we can actually refer back to it. I think if I had a written document with him stating all of these things, he would have been, because what he was doing, I would have known if he had the capacity or the technical know-how to be able to, or what he would be able to deliver to the table. And if he's getting say 20% for just getting the job, he would I think he would have just jumped on it. But his mindset, I don't think he saw that 60%, 40% for the company and 50% for us coming. I think that was what I think brought the whole thing. So if I actually put what you said then, signing dotted line and making for clear, like you now later told us, clarity, we made the whole thing very clear, and each and every one of us understands what we are bringing to the table and what we are going to get in the end. We won't have problems, and it's going to foster more opportunities and be able to get these persons on board. When next we have other engagement. I think I just recalled that and I said I should share. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Thank you. And that. Thank you for sharing that experience. Many times when we make mistakes in businesses, it's really because we don't write things down. Like I said, we've been trained to avoid leadership. We've been trained to avoid accountability. If you're on this call and you have a business partner who is your best friend, after this call, both of you get a lawyer, draft a document that highlights everybody's roles and responsibilities and penalties of not keeping, do you understand? And both of you sign it. Believe me, that document is going to save you a lot of headache and will save your relationship in the future. If you're on this call and you have a partner, after this call, get a lawyer. Even if they charge you 5K or 10K, get a lawyer to do an agreement. Don't think because this person is your brother or sister or whatever, all right, or your best friend, that they would not change. People change. I can tell you that. People change a lot. Even your best friend of last 20 or 30 years, they change. So if you really love that relationship, make sure you go and get a legal document or a memorandum of agreement or whatever and sign that thing. In the past when I had a co-founder also, this is one major mistake I made. Like one of my mentors was saying, "Oh, make sure you guys sign an agreement." Blah, blah. I was like, "Oh no, this person is my best friend." No. And then things will just happen like this, and people lie. Things will just change. Something was going to happen that would change everything. And at that stage, it will be too late to spare the relationship or spare the business or something like that. So make sure if you're doing anything with anybody, even down to your staff, the people you are employing. Even if you are paying them 500 naira or 10,000 naira per month as salary, do you have a legal document, a letter of employment that specifies clearly their roles and responsibilities and the condition upon which they will be terminated? You know, some of those documents are available. Even if it's going to cost you 5K or 10K, get it from a lawyer, have it written down, sign, and get your staff to sign. Keep one, because one day monkey will go to market and monkey will not come back. I think there's a Nigerian saying that goes that way. You have to sign. Because if you do that, you're going to protect your relationship with those people. Because the terms and agreement is going to say, hey, if you don't show up for, if you are incompetent, whatever, and we're going to let you go, I could sack you immediately. You know, if you want to leave my company, you have 1 month to give me a notification. You can't just leave immediately, or else I'll come after you at your new company. You have to make sure that you sign those things with your staff, or else, if your staff, for example, steals your goods and runs away, what do you have to hold them? Will you just go to the police station and report? You need to make sure that you have a legal document. Sometimes we try to want to save money or save relationship. Oh, they are going to think I don't trust them. They're going to think this. My brother, the reason you are signing that legal document is because you trust them. So guys, make sure after this call, if you have any business, even if you're a freelancer who is offering designs to people or something like that, make sure you have a 1-page, at least something, a form of contract agreement or something that is enforceable in court. Because that way people protect relationships. I remember we hired this guy. This guy is very talented for a remote job some time ago. And one of the first things we did was to identify key milestones. We agreed on pricing, and we clearly defined what if you gave me delivered on milestone 1, and then milestone two you failed. Like, how do we handle the relationship? We talked about everything. And so along the way, it happened that this guy, after he delivered the first milestone, the second milestone, he was having issue, took him like so long, after which third milestone. And so it became very clear how to handle the relationship, because we already had a conversation about it. So at the point where we disengaged him and all those things, he was not offended. I could still call him today with my phone and have a conversation with him. I was telling him I have a new job, but we didn't have to quarrel. We didn't have to exchange words, because we ended the relationship based on an agreement we had. So I'm throwing a lot of emphasis to that, because, you know, when you start moving on to financial statements and all those things, you are not talking about money, all right? And I think we're going to really talk a whole lot about that in our next class. But there are some key things I kind of feel like I wanted to address today that will give you the foundation for our next class, and will make you very, entrepreneurial and profit driven, because you need to stop thinking like a non-profit. You need to start thinking as an entrepreneur, and as an entrepreneur, you might have to make very, very brutal and tough decisions. You might have to make decisions that would have to keep your business alive. I mean, you have to make really brutal decisions, and some of those decisions will make you feel bad, but you have to make them, or else you will not be a successful entrepreneur. I'll tell you guys a story. I think I see Shalom and Enoch. You raise your hands up. Okay, you guys will speak briefly, but I'll tell you a story. Some years ago, my company was producing animal feeds, all right, and then we bag them and sell. And so we had two things I observed was that we had some of these farmers who will come and meet you and say, hey, we don't have money, our birds are going to die, this, we just need feeds. Let's feed them for a week, and then we would pay you up. I'm expecting money from someone. One of them told me that he sold land, he was waiting for the money to be paid. He doesn't have anything anywhere, blah, blah. so let's give him fees on credit. But someone had told me on no condition must you sell on credit or else your company is dead. So we had to turn down that offer. It happens that what these guys were doing was that they will go to this vendor, they will buy up feeds on credit, use that feeds maybe for 1 or 2 weeks. They'll go to another shop, buy on credit, use that for 1 or 2 weeks, and they just sell off these animals and start telling you a story. We had a woman who was running a big shop in town, and she was one of the people distributing our feeds. And this woman sold our feeds. After selling it, she then used the money to buy feeds from another company and started selling. We literally had to arrest her to recover our money. We literally had to arrest her to recover our money. There was this guy also we were trying to hire to produce machine for us, like a feed mill machine. After negotiation and everything, we asked how long will it take a machine to be ready? He said, was it 2 months or 3 months? We said, okay, no problem. And then it was time to, so he came one day and said he wanted the advance to start. So we were supposed to give him the advance, was it like 80% or 70% or so, was in a month's time. And then the guy shows up in like a week and says he wanted the advance so that he could start on time, he wants to finish. He doesn't want it to be like when it's time to get the machine, that we delayed him. So we just gave him the 70%. Not knowing that this guy had his marriage that weekend and he didn't have anywhere to, he didn't have money to buy food, rent canopy and stuff like that. So all this time he was talking to us, it was just because he needed money to go and, they shared invitations, they had to do this marriage. And I didn't know, it was that weekend, the following week, on Monday, I went to check on him to see if he had bought the materials he needed for the job. And then that was when his boys in the workshop began to say, oh, it's not yet back, he just had his marriage on Saturday and Sunday. And so he's resting today. I was like, he had his marriage, yeah. So I already knew there was going to be a problem. And so after 2 weeks, we met with him, he said the work was progressing. 2 months later, the job was not ready. As at 6 months, even the skeleton of the machine were not seen. Eventually, I had to get this guy arrested. But I waited 8 months. And looking back, I should have done that after month 1. I didn't have to wait 8 months before arresting him. I should have arrested him within 1 month. Eventually, he produced a machine, a very substandard machine. He had to, because he didn't have money to build the actual specifications of machine that we gave. So he eventually built the machine, although not as qualitative as we wanted. And all those things, but we had to get him arrested. I got him arrested, locked up, and I did it righteously as a Christian. I had to arrest him. I had to recover. In fact, after arresting him, I think he stayed there for about a week or whatever. And then he was billed with about, was it 30K or 50K or whatever? That was years ago. And that was a lot of money compared to now. He was billed. And after he was billed, they gave him 1 month to complete the machines. He completed the machine. So he came for his balance. When he came for his balance, you guys know what I did? All the money I paid to the police, all the money to even close the case, the money that we paid to arrest him, the money we spent on transportation to his workshop, the money for calls, the money for feeding when we came to visit him and he was not around, the money for everything, I calculated everything. By the time we finished the calculation, what was left was like 10,000 naira. And that was what we paid him. And he was so upset. But I was like, we had an agreement. It was very clear. And he understood. After then, we kept on talking. And that's life. It's business. So you might have to make decisions to arrest people, to do whatever, just to make sure that your business survives. And don't think it's a sin to arrest someone who's cheating on you or who messed up with you. If you have to make a brutal decision, go ahead and make those decisions. I think Enoch is raising his hand. Enoch, you can unmute your mic.
Okay. Good afternoon. Oh, good morning, sir.
Yeah,
Thank
good
you.
morning.
Thank you for this opportunity. This privilege actually to be here.
Mhm.
On the side, I really don't take it for granted. My question is actually very fast and short. Um, Talking about brutal decision and step in business and all now. Sometime around I think last year January,
Mhm.
I just felt so pressed in my spirit to incorporate a company. So I stepped out,
Mhm.
inquire what would be needed, and fast forward 1 month after the company was incorporated.
Okay.
But now the company was incorporated, had ideas scattered here and there, um, no, I don't have it in one place. It's just scattered around what the company wants to do in the future and all of those stuff, but not
Mhm.
arranged. And I know few persons that are actually progressing or are successful in the said field that I want to go into.
Uh-huh.
Now, getting to those people was actually very difficult because I learn more when I am mentored closely, like hands-on mentorship. Like I want to be in
Yeah.
the field, I want to see how these things are being done. I want to see potholes that um, should be avoided and all of those stuff. But it was very difficult to get to those people. I actually went as far as looking for their mails, to send them mails to see if I can come and volunteer in their company without pay, just to learn um, these things, because this is what I really want my company to be doing and all of those stuff. But
Mhm.
all were actually not. It was actually not possible to do that. So in such case, I don't know what you would advise, sir. How can someone like me that learn more on the field? I prefer learning more when you actually teach me. I'm seeing it. I'm there on the field with you and all of those stuff. What would you advise in getting to meet people that have gone ahead of you in that same field to actually mentor you that way?
Yeah. Thank you very much. I think that's a good question. I've also been in that shoes. Yeah, I wanted to go work for an organization and all those things. Usually, many people are not accessible, and also every organization has their own internal issues. um, they have their own internal issues, so it's a little bit hard to get someone to come and work for you, volunteer, see how things are being done, to learn, because not everybody wants to expose their weakness and all those things, right? Um, Even though that is one key way you're going to have to learn. All right. So a major recommendation I would have for you would be to do an MBA, Masters in Business Admin, because doing an MBA would give you the opportunity to intern with a company,
Okay.
probably for 6 months, you know, and that's one way you could actually learn. Another too is to reach out, right, to people and ask them and introduce yourself. This is what you like to do, and hear their responses. Have you sent out any? Have you talked to anyone about this before?
Yes, I have, but a lot of them no replied. A lot of them no replied at all.
Yeah. Why? So why don't you focus on building a relationship first? Um, just think of it. For example, if someone sends you an email now and says to you that, "Oh, I want to come to your organization and work for 3 months and learn and all those things," would you reply the email? Would you accept? You probably would not, because I mean, you want to get your own house in order, and you yourself, you're looking for help, right? So it's the same thing. You need to put yourself in their shoes. But if you had reached out to an uncle or so, or someone who you have a relationship with, a mentor you have a relationship with, that you've established a relationship over time, that's why you must invest in your relationships. It becomes a little bit easier I did that with one of my mentors some time ago. I eventually did my NYC in my mentor's office. So for 1 whole year, I worked with him. And boy, hey, oh boy, I worked too. I will come to I have to be in the office early because it's company policy to be there before 8 a.m. You must not come late. It's company policy. And if you come late, you begin to get query, you know. And then because I was working in his office, which was the registrar's office, I didn't know that about like Senate and all those things. You know, you hear about it as a student, but you don't know what it really involves. And you know, they have people there, they have a lot of meetings, they make a lot of sacrifices. And sometimes he will close 8 o'clock or 9 p.m. So I am usually the last person who leaves because I don't want to leave my mentor in the office. So I will stay till like 8 or 9 p.m. When he's leaving, that's when I go. So all the staff in his office, they've gone off. But my mentor leaves 8 p.m. or 9 p.m. That is when I leave my office. So we both leave the office together. He locks the office and then he takes his car and goes away. Me, I trek to my house. My house was about 15, 20 minutes walk or so from the office in the night. Sometimes after 9, that's when I get home. You know, for a copper, and you know, many copper, you know, copper doesn't like to suffer like that. Copper likes to do 8 o'clock to 2 with a lot of breaks in between. And they don't joke with their CDS day. And they try to collect extra breaks. But I didn't have that privilege. The only day I had free was my CDS and sometimes Sundays. But on Saturdays, sometimes I have to show up. You know, so it was a huge sacrifice. You end up doing more than a normal staff, but it's okay. But you have to build your relationships first. So there's something called emotional bank account. All right, emotional bank account. So which means that before you withdraw, you know, you can't just go to a bank and withdraw money. Can you do that?
Of course not.
Can you do that? The first thing is that you have to open an account. After you open an account, you have to deposit into the account. Then one day you come and withdraw from that account. So when you're trying to build your relationships, all right, you have to open an account with those people first, make them know you, build trust. Then you have to deposit into that account, and which was one of the things I taught you guys in our first class, the first mentorship class we had. I taught you guys about how to be an extraordinary protege. I don't know if some of you missed that class. But one of the things I told you was that you must learn to honor your mentors by giving them gifts. Do you understand? Those things might look small, but I can tell you it goes a long way. A very long way. I have a mentor, a major mentor in my life, and every month I send him a gift. I send him money, like every month. You know, I try to do something and send, and he takes me like one of his sons now. It's not that he needs my money. He does not need my money. Not just even one. I think there are about 2 of them or so. None of them, nobody needs my money. They are all doing well on their own, all right? But it's part of honoring them. And I can tell you that if I have an issue, whether it's an emotional issue or a financially, whatever issue I have, even if it is 11 p.m. in the night, I know if I reach out to them, they will respond to me. But if it were some other proteges, oh boy, you have to wait the morning, no? And that's if they don't have meeting. I know a mentor that if I have a very urgent, like 2 of them, if I have a very urgent problem now, I can reach out to them and they will surely respond to me within 24 hours. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
Do you understand? So,
Yes,
so that is a very important concept. In fact, I'm going to share on the mentorship group. Guys, be on the lookout. On May 4th, I have a speaker, all right, who is going to join us. He's going to be teaching on building your leadership capacity on May 4th, 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. Make sure you are there. Do not miss that class for anything. 6 p.m. we're going to talk a lot of things about leadership, public speaking, a lot of things, building your relationships, building your network. 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. on May 4th. Make sure you do not miss that class.
Is it on WhatsApp?
Yeah, I will share the link on WhatsApp. I will share the link on my Facebook page. So make sure you're on the lookout. Do not miss that class. Do not miss that class for anything. It's gonna, and then we also have Chris here. Chris here wrote a book on called Blitzscaling. The book was forwarded by Bill Gates himself, and he wrote that book with the CEO of LinkedIn, Reid Hoffman, the founder of LinkedIn. They all wrote the book together, and that book was forwarded by Bill Gates. And guess what? Chris is going to be with us. Let me check my calendar. Chris is going to be with us on May 7th. Write the date down, May 7th, 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. May 7th, Chris is going to be with us, and it's going to be a life-transforming moment. We're going to have 2 hours with Chris here, who is one of the gurus on how to grow a multi-billion-dollar corporation from scratch, on how to scale your company. Chris will be with us. So make sure you are preparing questions. On May, we also have a top guru in the world. Her name is Professor Sasha. I will share these things with you guys in the group. She's going to be with us on May 15th, 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. May 15th. I'm just sharing this with you. I announced I was going to have a big announcement. So I'm doing that right now. Block these calendars on your date. So it's almost going to be like, in quote, a mini MBA for you guys. It's going to be an opportunity for you guys to learn, capture a lot of skills. I'm going to be announcing other speakers shortly, but take note of that. The concept of emotional bank account, make sure you don't joke with that. Don't try to withdraw from a relationship that you have not deposited into. Do not try to do that. Make sure you are consistent. Make sure you honor. These are very simple things, but they will take you. They will take you far. They will take you far. I can share that with you. I have proteges that if they tell me they want to come to Lagos, I will ask them in my house. I will keep them in my house. I will go an extra mile for them because they listen to me, they ask good questions, they honor me, and those are what's important to me. Very important. Very, very important. So that's it. So yeah, thank you. So I'll take a question from Shalom. Yeah, Samson. Great. Yeah, great comment. Oh, Tola is on this call. Tola is on this call. Where are you, Tola?
I'm here. Good morning.
Good morning. Good to hear your voice.
I'm learning, I'm learning, I'm listening. I'm wowed.
Yeah, so good to hear your voice. Don't mind me. I said I was going to. Don't worry, I owe you a call. I'll call you after this call.
All right, we'll talk.
Okay.
Oh yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Okay, Shalom, can you unmute yourself?
Oh, sir. Thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
Sir, so my question is, you talked about equity is very expensive in creating a team. So whereby someone wants to maybe start up a company and they are hoping to partner with somebody or start it with somebody, how do they go about it? Because there was a time I started this food delivery thing. I started with a guy who does event planning and all that. But at the long run, I couldn't just work with him. But while we were friends, it looked like I could work with him, but I couldn't work with him. So that has not really helped me to, I've not been open to want to partner with people to start up businesses. And I already have people saying, oh, can we do this together? So I was asking, how can I do it and not end up having problems with the person?
Okay, the question is that you try to start off.
Yeah, I
They,
started a business before. Yes, I started a food delivery business in school, but it didn't work out because the person I was working with, I couldn't just work with him. It didn't work out. And you just said equity is very expensive in a business. That means you shouldn't give
Mhm.
people so much equal rights as you. So in a process where I don't have money to pay the person
Mhm.
for now, what do I do?
Okay,
Let's say
you are
the
starting
person,
up a
I need the
company.
person.
You are starting a
Yes.
company. You don't have money.
So
You don't want to give equity. How do you pay the person? Is that
yes,
the question? Is that the
yes,
question? Yeah. So
yes. How do you
so
go
that means you are
about
not
it?
starting a business actually. Yeah. Can you? Yeah. It doesn't sound to me like a business. Sounds to me like a project or NGO.
Okay.
Yeah. So if it is a real business you are trying to start, that means you have to first
Yes.
figure out how you're going to make money. That's what makes it a business first. Now, having figured out how you make money, you can then decide that you're going to do profit sharing or something. So with profit sharing, you're saying that I'm going to get this job under this company name, which belongs to me. Every time you bring a job into the company, or I get a job, I'm going to pay you a percentage of that for the job that you bring to me or the job I assign to you. So it means that that person is like, in quotes, a managing partner or something. They don't own a percentage of the company and they only earn based on what they bring into the company or what you delegate to them. So which means that you got a contract of 500K or #1,000,000 naira. You probably want to assign them a small part of the job to do, and maybe you're going to pay them 100K or 200K, which is like a freelance gig, or they bring a job into the company and you split it 50-50 or 60-40, whatever, something like that. So that way you don't have to give equity, you don't have to pay salary, but you can do profit sharing. You can share profit. So maybe the job cost was the client paid 1 million, and the cost of implementing that job, which was something similar to what Victor was talking about, maybe the cost to the company is 30%. All right. So the profit is 70%. So it is from that profit you split. So let's say the profit is 700,000. So maybe you guys agreed you are going to do 50-50 or whatever percentage you guys agreed on. Then you split it. You split the profit, not the entire sum. Do you understand? Because the business might be incurring cost of acquisition, cost of office, operating expense, and asset, blah, blah. So you need to make sure that you recover those costs as part of the cost of production of a good or service.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, you're welcome. Dare, so good to see your beard. So good to see your beard. It's so long. Okay, guys. Let's see if we can take one more comment. I want us to close early. Someone is asking, thanks so much, sir. Class is really being insightful. Please, sir, how do I get involved in your mentorship program? Okay, let's see how that works. Just send me your phone number or send me an email. I'm really very careful with the mentorship groups because I really love the people in my mentorship group now because they don't abuse the privilege. They're very respectful and I like them a lot. So it's a little bit hard bringing in people you don't know, but let's see how that works. Just send me your phone number. Send me your phone number. Send me an email about yourself. Attach your picture. Tell me about your business and all that, and then we'll take it up from there. Okay, guys. So it was nice speaking with each of you today. Today we talked about different things. we talked about everyone can be a leader or everyone is a leader. And the reason for that is because I said that many times we have been trained. So I'm doing a recap of everything we've talked about today. The reason why most of us do not think that we can be leaders is primarily because we have been trained by our educational system to avoid leadership. We've grown up in an environment where we're electing class reps, class monitors. We're always choosing people to lead over us, all right? We're not taking active steps to put ourselves in a position where people want us. I mean, take a look at this country. Even if you're a bad leader, you're still a leader, right? So it's time to start doing something where other people rely on you for your skills, for your words, for your expertise, for your encouragement, for something good, you know. So I want everyone to begin to think about some form of leadership projects, you know, some form of leadership activity, and also begin to, I mean, go online, read about leadership, but you have to start seeing yourself as a leader. Very important. Very, very important. You have to start seeing yourself as a leader. Even if your business has failed, or is failing, or your company is failing, or your NGO is failing, still see yourself as a leader. Even if you don't have a company, you must see yourself as a leader. We cannot continue to be docile or gullible. The second thing we talked about today is the concept of brutality, of being brutal in business. And that many times, because we are very emotional, we do not take the necessary steps needed to protect our businesses. We do not sign agreements or legal agreements about why we are going into a relationship. We just trust. You know, we just trust. And one of the people I respect said, young people trust, wise people test. Young people trust, wise people test. Test. Wise people must test. You have to test all things. You have to prove all things. You have to sign an agreement. If you have somebody you have employed, even if you are paying that person 10,000 naira, make sure you have a legal agreement. Make sure you get a lawyer. If they are asking you to pay 5K, whatever, negotiate, get a legal agreement. Do not ever have a partner without signing an agreement, even if that partner is your best friend. Make sure you define everything, get a lawyer to help you, because that agreement would save your relationship. And the reason you have to do those agreements is because you trust them. All right? People only go into legal agreements with people they trust. All right? Not because you do not trust them. Make sure you avoid relationships that are destroying you emotionally, relationships that are destroying you financially, relationships that are trying to wreck your credibility. Avoid them. Cut them off. Cut them off. I did something a few weeks ago. I went through my entire phone and I deleted about 1,200 people from my phone contact books. I cut it down to about, I had a lot of contacts. So I cut down people so there are some people I always call, they don't call. And I realized, like, I've been calling these guys for like years. I mean, I love the relationship, but I don't have time to keep on doing that. So, gone. There are some people who never call, and I've never called, gone. So I just created, I don't want to be scrolling through my phone and I'm seeing people who are not in touch. So I want to create a white space for a new set of people in my life. I shaved down my relationship the same way I shaved my hair so that I can grow new ones. All right? That's really important. So many times we just hanging on to relationships that are useless, that are not contributing anything and will not contribute anything. So you need to learn to disconnect. So it's a brutal decision. Disconnect yourself from people who are useless to you and who you are useless to. So you want to focus on building relationships with people who are ahead of you, who will move you forward, all right? Not those who would drag you down. Two poor people cannot help each other. Two poor people cannot help each other. You have to, in the journey of success or in the ladder of success, whatever you call it, you have to first put the ladder there. Then you will climb the ladder there. When you get to the top, you will now hold the ladder properly for other people to climb so that they will not fall. All right? You don't want to be dragging someone off the ladder. Even in an aeroplane, you are told that in case of emergency, if you have a child, you first, you wear your mask first, and breathe properly before you help your child. You don't try to help your child first and then help yourself. And the reason for that is because if in the process of helping your child, you might lose your life, all right? And the child will no longer be helped. So you have to help yourself first before you think of helping others, all right? That is a very tough decision, but you have to make that decision in your favor. You have to prioritize the life of your business. You have to prioritize people who are going to pay you. You are not in the business of charity. You have, even if you're in the business of charity, you have to figure out how to be sustainable. All right, you have to do it, or else one day you're going to wake up without a business or NGO. So you have to make very, very tough decisions. Very, very tough decisions. And don't think that you are not being religious or righteous when you make those decisions. And even if you have to arrest someone to recover your money, go ahead and do it. God will support you. God loves you for doing that. In fact, God hates, I don't know if to say this, but I don't think God wants to give money to someone who can be intimidated or cheated easily. So if God gives you £1 million and some idiots steal that money from you or cheated you out of it, I think God will be very impressed if you're able to take them to the police station, arrest them and recover your money. It means that you're a good steward, all right? Brutal decisions, you have to be able to make them. And we also, those are the two most important things we talked about. We talked about the concept of emotional bank accounts and the concept of honor. Honor your mentors. Honor means to give a gift and try to do it regularly. It helps a lot. It helps a lot. And then I think these were the things we talked about. And then I talked about the big announcement there, and that on May 4th, we're going to have a very great speaker, a great leader who's going to talk about building your leadership capacity. So we're going to have a short lecture. He's a great guy. Believe me, you will not regret the meeting. And then we're going to have Q&As, fireside chats. And I believe it's going to be life transforming for you guys. So don't forget, my role here is primarily to add value to you. It's primarily to make you a better person each time you listen to me. And my role here is primarily to see that in the next few years, next few months, I want to make sure that this group becomes one of the most powerful set of young people in the country or continent, you know. So I'm so excited to see each of you, Dari, Enoch, Joshua, Joseph, Victor Ladifo, Samson Okolinta, Ditola Salahu, Osazi, Ogagbon, Shalom, Joshua Densi, Grace Galadima, Opeg Bello. So good to see each of you. Keep in touch, send me an email, send me a WhatsApp number, and then we take things up. So we see next week, all right?
Hello? Oh my God, network.
Well, we can hear you now.
Hello?
Hello, we can hear you.
Thank you, sir, for the session.
Thank you so much for the session. I'm so grateful, sir.
I'm very, very grateful, sir. I learned a lot today.
Yes, it was